Hi, this is Mark Laughlin with the Ambidextral Gunfighter. Ambidextral Hunter today. And so I'm going to apply some of the things we've learned from paintball and I guess gunfighting and paintball as far as being ambidextrous and for the optimal use of cover. A little bit here on being an ambidextral hunter. Now, why would a hunter want to become ambidextrous with his hunting rifle? Well, one, it's kind of very similar. Instead of optimal use of cover, it's optimal use of concealment. So you don't want to spook that trophy game animal. So if you're shooting around cover and making use of concealment, then being ambidextrous can be beneficial. Also, it gives you you're more versatile given the terrain, since you're typically not going to be hunting out on the flat one-way range at the gun range. It's going to be often on slopes like this, of variations of terrain, undulating and rocks and hillsides and all that. And depending on where the animal is you're looking to take, the shot might be best. You might have the most steadiest hold factors shooting left-handed or right-handed, depending on the terrain. And then also the third one, it kind of takes us back to the ambidextral gunfighter theme, is that it makes you a little more useful as an American citizen if our country were to be invaded. So develop your ambidextral hunter skills and you will be an ambidextral gunfighter as well. Now, how do you become ambidextrous? Well, it's pretty simple. Let's start here with the demonstration. Here I've got my favorite hunting rig here, the Eberly stock Mini-Me backpack with a rifle scabbard in it, and I've got one of my old favorites for manual action, which is the Marlin guide gun. Now, to become ambidextrous, it's the same, and you can check my other video series on how to become ambidextrous, but basically you get up behind cover. It can be a door, a cardboard box, a refrigerator box, or just a tree, rocks, whatever. But you get it behind cover, and then you get in close, and you keep both eyes open, and you get up in behind your rifle, and one eye is being blocked by cover, so it doesn't get any useful information, and the other eye sees your sighting system. And then you switch to the other side, and then do the same thing. Both eyes open, but you got your sighting eye, and then your other eye is blocked by cover. And you just work back and forth on that, 10 or 15 times, and then go to bed and sleep that night. And your brain kind of works this shit out. And then the next day, back up from that same cover and do the exact same thing. Now this time, the open eye is getting a little more information from the environment, but it's still mostly being blocked by cover. And you do the same thing, left and right, both eyes open, and each time one of the eyes is being occluded by cover. And so, but it's getting a little more information today. And then you go to sleep and you let your brain work on that again. And then the next day you come back and back up another yard and do it again. And now you're starting to get a lot more information in the open eye, but you've trained your brain to know that, hey, I've got a sighting system here. So it wants to automatically want to kind of favor your sighting system no matter which hand you're using. Basically what we're doing is we're kind of eliminating eye dominance, or at least attenuating it. And then ultimately get to the point where you back up enough, or you actually step away from behind cover, and you're open field. And now you can switch left and right, and either eye will pick up the sighting system. Now also a part of this is to, as you're shooting or practicing your dry firing left and right, you want to try to do everything exactly the same left and right. You're trying to mirror everything. Okay, so talked about you want to mirror everything as best you can. Your hold, your stance, everything. Your cheek weld, all of that. And then that brings us to, what does the ambidextral hunter require of his rifle? Now, that's one reason I use a lever gun. A lever gun is perfectly ambidextrous. The action works the same left or right. I can manipulate the hammer the same left or right. It's pretty much, see, it's pretty much perfectly mirrored for almost everything. There is one factor I don't care about on the Marlin guide gun, and unfortunately it's probably going to apply to a lot of rifles, lever guns, is the crossbolt safety. Now, why do I not like the crossbow safety? A lot of people say, well, that's ambidextrous, you can hit it from both sides. And it's probably fine for someone that's hunting, where you're going to be more not really getting so much maybe into the zone as maybe a gunfighter would. But here's what's the problem is your brain does bilateral transfer of skill from left to right or right to left or whatever. And so you learn that shooting right-handed, when it comes time to remove the safety, I push the button in. Okay, so brains work that out. Now when I shoot left-handed, it thinks when I want to take the safety off, it thinks I'm pushing in. So it's different on each side, because on this side, this right-handed, pushing the safety in takes the safety off. On this side, pushing the safety in takes the safety on. So you could be potentially thinking, okay, here I am, I've got my safety off, I'm shooting right-handed, and I'm like, oh, I'm not going to make the target. So you kind of do you put the safety on, and you're just not really thinking about it because you've automated all this. Now, if you're shooting left-handed and you think you've got the safety on, and you think, okay, I want to push the safety on, and you use your thumb to push it on. Now the safety is actually off. So basically, in one case, I don't know if I'm making this clear. In one case, this side, pushing the safety that way makes the rifle ready to fire, whereas on this side, pushing the safety in makes it ready not to fire. It makes it safe. So you have to focus yourself to pay attention when you don't want to be automated with using the safety. Everything else you can automate and quickly switch back and forth and work all the action and work the hammer, lower the hammer, and all that can be kind of automated. But so that's my one complaint about the safety. The other, of course, is that the loading chute is not ambidextrous, which, I mean, you're not actually probably going to be doing a lot of tactical reloads. So, you know, you got your 4 rounds in here and should be good to go, 1 in the chamber. And if you do have to top off, well, it's kind of like a magazine chain on the pistols. Things are going to be, you're going to have to get out of your zone a bit for that. Now let's talk about some of the other things I've got set up on here. I've got a Weaver. This is an old 3x scope, a variable power scope, 1 power to 3 power, I believe. And notice I've got it set really low. I like that low, so this low over the bore, and it's where, when I get my cheek weld, I'm right behind the optic. Now, I also notice I've got both rings mounted behind the turret. Some people think that's a little bit weird. The reason I had to do that is given the pick rail here, which is relatively short, and I needed the scope far enough forward. Now, why do I need the scope so far forward? A lot of times you'll see a lot of hunters with the scopes, the eyepiece is way back here, and that's too far. And there's a couple of reasons you want the scope far enough forward so that when you bring it in, you want to do a turkey neck cheek weld, get your head as far forward, you know, extending your neck as far forward as you can, and then have that full field of view through your scope. Now, why are we doing that? Why are we doing this turkey neck cheek weld? Why can't I just sit back here relaxed and do that and have the scope back here? A couple of reasons. One is the turkey neck cheek weld is a repeatable action. So that means it's going to be, you'll do it by extending your head all the way forward to its limits and then bringing your cheek down against the stock. For precision and accuracy, that's something that you can repeat consistently. Now the other thing is, typically for my American or ambidextral gunfighter rifles, they're not very heavy recoiling. Now this is a 45-70, so it can be a little bit jumpy. And so by doing the turkey neck cheek weld, where you got your head as far forward, when the rifle recoils, your head's going to go back with it. Whereas if you're back here relaxed and your scope is right there, and you've got a lot of movement here where your head can come forward more, and then you get that scope bite. So it sounds kind of counterintuitive, but by doing the turkey neck cheek weld, you're reducing your risk of scope bite, because your head is as far forward as it can get already, and so when the rifle recoils, it can't come back and hit you in the top of the eye, and your head's going to ride right back with the rifle. So that's why the scope is mounted farther forward than you might see a lot of hunters running them. Now you can also, of course, you see a lot of people running the scout rifle setup where they have the extended eye relief scope, and I had a 4570 somewhere that's like that. And so that's actually pretty cool and fast sighting system as well. And then of course another advantage is by being low over the bore, it fits in my backpack scabbard very well. Now you notice I did have to put even though my scope is mounted as low as I can get it, I did have to put a little bit of I think it's about a 3/16 of an inch cheek riser pad to get the proper eye alignment with my sighting system. Now another thing I'm running is this old school GI cotton duck shooter sling. Now this is fine, it does, you see a lot of people using just the nylon stuff with the big pads and all that stuff on it, and that's fine if you just want to carry the rifle, you know, but if you're wanting to sling it. But the reason I use this old GI sling is for actually as a shooter's aid. Now there's a couple of ways you can use it as shooter's aid, and I'll show you one later when we do kind of an Appleseed, a mini Appleseed with this. But probably the most common one is going to be like the hasty sling, where you basically just you start over. The hasty sling, where you bring basically your trigger guard up to eye level, armpit up high in the sling, and then bring your hand around the sling, and then you can rotate the rifle down like this. Now this really steadies your shooting position, and then for these heavy recoiling rifles, it takes some of the load here spreads it across your chest. Now there is another, we're going to knock my microphone off, another sling type, which is just, you've got this hold here and you basically just swing that around like that, and this is a really quick one to get into for, you know, a quick snap shooting opportunity, and you're not bringing your hand around it, but just, you know, swinging that sling up there under your elbow for just a little bit added support. Now the other is we can do a loop sling where we detach from back here and create a loop in the bottom of the sling, and then snug it kind of like a tourniquet. It sounds horrible. Kind of like a tourniquet up high in your bicep, and that's probably the steadiest shooter's aid you can get as far as using a sling. Okay, now for some other things I highly recommend you do is take your hunting rifle out and go to a Project Appleseed rifle marksmanship clinic. Actually, if you have a 22, that would actually be better. You think, oh, I got to practice on the rifle I'm going to be using hunting, but what you're going to learn at Appleseed, Project Appleseed, is it'll be easily transferable. The skills will be transferred to your rifle, and if you'd use a 22 like a Ruger 1022 or a Tippmann M4 22, you'll save a lot of money on ammo. In fact, it'll pay for buying yourself a 22 rifle if you don't already have one, especially for this. You know, you talk $2 a round for this, and if you were to do, you know, 400 rounds of this at a Project Appleseed, besides being probably a little bit sore from that much use, you know, 400 rounds of this would be, you know, $800, and so like I said, that would actually buy you probably 2 or 3 22 rifles and several thousands of rounds of ammo. But anyway, what you'll learn at Project Appleseed is you'll learn the steady hold factors. You'll learn how to use the sling that I just kind of really quickly went over. You'll learn about natural point of aim, which is probably the most important concept, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's going to be probably the big benefit you'll gain from going to a Project Appleseed rifle marksmanship clinic. Now I do have a video series of my own called Appleseed Prep. You can check the link down below, and that's basically, I think it's a 16, 17, 18 series of videos, and they're only like, you know, a few minutes long each, and it goes over various aspects of going to a Project Appleseed, and then kind of gives you a quick overview of what you're going to be doing there. Now, talking of Project Appleseed, we talked earlier a little bit about, you know, the turkey neck cheek weld. Now, with a high recoiling rifle like the Marlin guide gun and a lever gun as well as that, the way I like to operate or to hold it with my my trigger hand is, you often see people bringing the thumb over behind the trigger or behind the hammer like that, but I like to bring the thumb up to the side and then use the back side of my pinky against this lever to pull the rifle smartly back against my shoulder. And that way I don't end up with a bruised shoulder. You don't need these big massive recoil pads or pads on your shirt. I'm just wearing a regular dress shirt today, and once I get this pack off, it's gonna be no problem. I'll just pull it snugly into my shoulder and it'll go boom and just kind of rotate up a bit, no big deal. And I'm using, again, the back of my pinky to pull that rifle snugly against my shoulder. I got my thumb over the side, that gets my trigger finger in a better straight back to the rear pull for better accuracy. And then also my thumb is out of the way, so if the rifle does come up like that, if I have the thumb across here, it is possible that it'll kind of, the back of your knuckle will punch you in the nose a bit. I mean, not real hard, it's just kind of annoying. So there's just a couple advantages of bringing the thumb over the side, and that's pretty common to use that technique with any straight stocked rifle. Pistol grip rifles, you'll be fine with the thumb over grip, but for really good accuracy, I highly recommend thumb to the side, exaggerated C-shaped trigger finger, so you can pull that trigger straight back. Okay, so like I said, go ahead and attend a Project Appleseed Rifle Marksmanship Clinic. Like I said, take a 10-22 or a 22 rifle to that. Earn your rifleman patch. Then go attend a Project Appleseed known distance event. And that's where you're actually shooting at the full range. Now, the regular 2-day clinic, you're shooting at 25 meters, and they use targets that simulate shooting 100, 200, 300, and 400 yards. And so the known distance event is where you actually go to a range where you can actually shoot 100, 200, 300, 400 yards. And I mean, it's pretty much the same. You do learn a little bit more about external ballistics, and you're going to learn a lot about inches, minutes, and clicks, and minute of angle. Important stuff for the hunter too. And then after you've done your known distance event and gotten your long range patch, then go attend, and I haven't done this yet, but then if you're lucky enough, you can go attend the unknown distance Appleseed that's so far I think is only being held at Whittington Center in New Mexico. The Project Appleseed standard rifle marksmanship clinics, they're all over the United States. Known distance events are going to be a little bit more rare. There may be one in your state or at least one nearby every year. The regular events, the 2-day events, are going to be probably several events in your state every year. So definitely check those out. So well, I've talked about as much as I can talk. So now let's go. I'm going to go we'll do a quick Appleseed style shoot with this rifle. I'll shoot left and right hand, but given the cost of ammo, I'm only going to shoot 1 round right and 1 round left in each of the positions. So I'm only going to use just a little under about 8 rounds, I guess, total, and I'll kind of just extrapolate, but it's kind of not fair, but I'm going to try to save some ammo, and then maybe I can shoot some steel or something too. And just kind of to show that really, it makes a big boom and it's really satisfying. I mean, there's nothing quite like shooting a few hundred yards out here in the Badlands, and you hear the big kerboom as the rifle goes off, and then it's like about a half a second later, a nice big satisfying kersplat down on the other end of where the big 325 grain chunk of lead hits the ground. So it's pretty cool. So let's go shoot a Project Appleseed. Okay, so here we are for stage 1 of the Project Appleseed drill. Running Hornady lever evolution ammunition. So let's get 2 rounds loaded up. One for left-handed, one for right-handed. Now we're ready to rock and roll. Start off right-handed. Let's go through my drill real careful. Thumb over to the side. Take advantage of our magnification. Turkey neck cheek weld. Okay, in the black. A little bit low, but about the same spot. Okay, that's not a very good start. I probably should have checked my zero before I started this. Zeroed the rifle down in Georgia, quite a bit lower elevation than here in Wyoming. And but anyway, and I also zeroed it, I believe is at, I'll have to check I have a video how to zero your 4570, and I think I zeroed it at 20 yards, which puts it on for the distance zero, I think at about 150 or something. So I probably need to aim higher as well. But nonetheless, pulling a little bit to the right, I'll have to watch that, but I did it both left and right, so that's good. Usually I'll see left and right about an inch apart, about right in there. So now we go to the seated. This time I'll use my hasty sling. Get the mat out of the way here. I think I'll do rice paddy prone. Okay, maybe I shot a little too high. And switch to left-handed. Same thing. Trigger guard up to the eye level, arm around, sling. Get that sling twisted right. Okay, here's sitting or squatting. There was my shot right-handed, my shot left-handed. So I got a 3 right-handed and a 5 left-handed. So I'm starting to kind of work in where my point of aim needs to be. I really should have zeroed this before I started. Okay, so now for stage 3, it's called rapid fire prone. We won't be doing any rapid fire today, but I'm going to use the loop sling to get myself full advantage. And so I'm rigged up here for shooting right-handed first. Kind of worried about the loop sling on how well it's going to work on a dress shirt. I don't think I've ever worn a dress shirt shooting. Just thought that something of elegance of a guide gun just seemed like it meant I needed to wear a dress shirt today. Okay, safety's on. Get my sling rigged up. Full Appleseed position, firing position here. Elbow directly underneath the rifle. thumb over. Find my natural point of aim. Turkey neck cheek weld. Still showing a little bit left, or shot heading a little to the right. Take the sling off. Switch to left-handed use. It's where the hasty sling is better because it's as far as ambidextrous, because it's quick to change from one side to the other. Okay, round loaded, safety on. Same thing, elbow directly underneath the rifle. Turkey neck cheek weld. Thumb over. Man, that trigger's light. That really surprised me. Okay, here's a target from stage 3. There's right-handed, scored a 3, and left-handed scored a 5. And that one really surprised me. And that trigger is just crazy, crazy awesome. It must be a 2.5, 3 pound pull and very crisp. And coming from basically like battle rifles, I'm not used to it. Okay, so anyway, back to, this is stage 4. It simulates 400 yards, and since I'm already slung up for left-handed, we'll start left-handed. We're gonna work left-handed with this loading chute there. And pay attention to that trigger. Oh man, shanked that. Well, that sucks. Man, I thought I was paying attention to that trigger. It's still just touched it. Bam. Okay, keep my finger off the trigger till the sights are on the target. There we go. I was having to hold about 1.5 inches the right, but it's in the black. That's what counts. Okay, here's our final target with 400-yard target. Absolutely missed on the, see, that was left-handed. Yeah, and I was aiming for there, and it's over there. Over here I learned my lesson, aimed over here, so I got it on the black. So I really need to zero this for, I guess maybe it's elevation here. I wouldn't think it would make that much difference at this range, but anyway, so I got a 5 and a zip, which 400 yards, Appleseed, you can't afford a single miss on this stage. So that kind of wrecked me. I was kind of on track to get the score, but with that dismal showing there, basically if I just did some Kentucky windage, I'm sure I would have gotten at least 3 or 4 points. But that just puts me at what's called marksman level, 165. It's pretty sad. I should have been at least with the fresh, I mean, just a little bit of care, should have been up at least sharpshooter or something. But almost there. But anyway, nice little fun drill. I mean, when you mess up like that, and you're only shooting 2 rounds a stage, and when you extrapolate that miss pretty heavily, it hurts. Anyway, good fun, 45-70. Not a gun I shoot a lot, but it's a gun that definitely fondle a lot. Okay, let's see if we can ring some steel. I guess so. I do believe that's the only rifle I've ever shot that actually knocked over my Evil Roy target. Let's see if we can do something about this fire ant problem. It's Mark Laughlin with the Ambidextral Gunfighter. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.